Hi guys, my name's Carl Muir, company owner at the PT Mentor UK. What I do for a living is deliver personal training related courses, so helping people get into the industry. I also have a small mentoring group of personal trainers already in the industry that want to take their business to the next level. And one of the things that I always say to my guys is you've got to stand out on social media, which is obviously like part and parcel of what we do for a living these days. And one way to do that is creating eye-catching graphics. So basically, Matt come on to into my group the other day and done some training for me. So here's me returning the favour. And what I'm going to do is talk you through how you can get your fit story onto Canva. If you haven't got Canva, you're missing out. It's the best thing in the world. And sort of putting that story into graphics to make it a bit more visual for some people, because as you know, some people prefer images, some people prefer to read, some people prefer video. So we want to capture everyone's attention. One way to do that is on Canva. So I'm just going to show you through a carousel slide. So basically on Instagram and Facebook, you can have up to 10 images in a row, which is called a carousel. So you don't have to have 10, but that's the maximum you can have. So for captions or quotes, just a one-off image, obviously it still needs to stand out, and then you can put all the content underneath in the sort of section that you can type out and where you put your hashtags, etc. Or like I said, you can break it down and make it a swipeable, more interactive image. What this does for your Instagram reach, sometimes one-off images get better likes, but carousel slide is a lot better for engagement because they're on your post and your picture and your profile for longer. Instagram recognize that, and therefore they reward you in the sort of weird algorithm that goes on behind the scenes. So if you've got someone scrolling through like that way and they see your picture, very brief read of the caption, quick tap, like, they've gone in what, anything from 3 to 5 seconds probably. If they stop on your page and start scrolling from left to right, or right to left, sorry, then you know, if there's information that's valuable on each slide, they're going to be on there a lot longer. So Instagram are going to think, oh, that person stopped on your page for 30 seconds compared to the 3 seconds they normally stop on. So maybe we'll try and boost this. Way to track it is on your insights. If you go into Instagram, on your homepage and then go to insights, you can see your posts that are performing well. You can track that, and if you sort of keep an eye on that and replicate what has worked, so it might not be carousel slides, it might be videos, it might be just one-off images, it might be quotes, whatever works well, replicate it. Think, what did you do in that that's worked well? Did you ask a question first on your stories before you put that post up later on that day? Did you do a bit of a countdown to a post that you've done? Whatever's got more engagement, more likes, saves, comments on those posts, and again, your insights will tell you this, replicate it again and again and again. So like I said, I'm going to show you how to do carousel slides. So what you need again is Canva. I've got a affiliate link, which I think you get a free trial with, which I can send to Matt and he can put underneath this. I'll show you my Instagram feed in a second as well. So if you want to check that out for inspiration, etc., then feel free. So when you go into Canva, this is what you're probably going to see when you first sign up. So you'll see your home screen. There's so many things you can do in there. You can do presentations, logos, documents, PDFs, you name it, you can do it. What you want to do is, let's move myself out of the way, is create a design. And you want to do a custom, let me get myself out of the way. You want to do a custom size. So your width is 1080, so that's the size of an Instagram square. And obviously the height of that square will be exactly the same. So it should be 1080 by 1080. But what I want you to do is the width and the height as 1080 by 1350. I'll explain why in a second. So as you hit that, or you type it in, mine's obviously already there, it's going to give you a blank canvas to work from. Over on the left, you've got a ton load of templates. Again, you can get inspiration from them. Try and find your own style that sort of matches you, your personality, your brand, the story that you're trying to get across. So if you've got your brand colors, always try and make sure that they're sort of in there. What you want to do is, it's a bit like copywriting. I always say, if you type it all out from start to finish, then go back and edit it afterwards. With regards to what you're going to call it, and on what you're going to be talking about, let's say, just for example, it's fat loss. So just for now, I'm going to put, fat loss. Everything you type in, you can just go over here. You've got, like I said, templates, uploads for your images, massive photo library, especially if you do the paid version, you get everything unlocked. So you've got all on there. Elements, which is all your sort of images, sort of drawn images, text, styles, audio, etc. Have a little bit of a play. So I'm going to do something on fat loss. Everything is just click and drag. Font wise, I tend to use Anton as my bold font. I always think you should have 2 fonts, 3 at most, throughout your whole carousel slide. If you've got too many fonts and too many images and it's too busy, people are going to not read what you're putting in and they're going to be distracted by everything. So personally, I'd always say have a bold font, which you can have on your main image, which will capture that attention as they're scrolling through. Then as you go to the next couple of pages, which is just add page at the bottom. So Anton is my first main slide. Then what I use is Bebas New Acrylic, or whatever it's called, as my sort of subheading. So I'm just going to call that subheading for a minute. And then I use, for my sort of sans type, I use something called Poppins Light. And as you can see, they sort of go quite nicely together. One's, like I said, for the headings, one's for like the sort of copy that you're going to put underneath it. So what I would do is separately plan out what you're going to talk about before you get to this stage, because otherwise, like I am now, going to blabber through it and sort of just make it up as I go. So you want to sort of have a good understanding of who it is you're targeting. Obviously, I'm sure you've all heard about the ideal client and your ideal market and who you need to sort of focus on. And once you do that, you can answer their problems, their queries, like help them to buy from you, basically. So the whole point of anything on social media, in my opinion, is to address that problem. So if we're talking about fat loss, let's just say Joe Blogs, who's like in his 40s, struggling for time, can't be bothered to go to the gym because he thinks he's too old and too lazy and too overweight to do it. You want to sort of give them the answer to what they're potentially thinking. So you could even call this something like 5 easy fat loss tips. So as you see, that is pretty spread out. If you click this button up here, as you hover over it, so the 3 lines with the up and down arrow spacing, the line space, which is lines between, I personally would drag that so it says 1, or you can just click on that, type 1, enter, and it just makes it a bit more compact. So now, if you drag it out, you can make it nice, big, and bold. You can align it to left, to the right, in the middle. What I tend to do is when you drag it over, you see those pink lines that appear? I tend to put all my text to the left-hand side because we read from left to right. So I sort of tend to just put it over there. You don't have to. Sometimes I've got text in the middle and it's like bigger, bolder, whatever. But what this allows you to do, so I go to pictures, let's think what, because I'm sort of getting them to think, 5 easy fat loss tips, what's he on about? Let's have someone thinking. There's plenty of images on here. Oh, he says, internet's slow, so I can't scroll down at the minute. Come on. Unsure. There you go, that's better. Let's say, doesn't really matter who we use. Let's just choose this guy. So he's looking the wrong way. So I can easily just flip him around here. Now he's looking the right way, but he's also got this grey background, which I don't want. On the Pro version of Canva, which is like £10, £12 a month, look at it, silly not to have it, it's amazing. You can go Effects, Background Remover, which does exactly what it says on the tin. You do have to wait a few minutes sometimes. It's turned in background as well. Come on. Right, so it's turned in background. Let's try and flip him around again. As you erase a background over here, you see that you've got erase and restore. Sometimes if it's someone, say for example, with a white t-shirt and a white background, it might chop a bit of their arm off or something like that. So you can go into it and just sort of brush it back in or brush something out, and then you can just hit apply, and then that will just get rid of that. Let's put him down here where I want him. I'll flip him around again in a minute if it's not going to play ball. Right, so at the moment, I'm just going to leave him there. So I've got my headline, which as you go through it, that might change 2 or 3 times, because when you carry on and write something, you might think, ah, that's a better headline. The base, as you're probably aware anyway, the basis of the headline is to capture their attention. If this looks good, which again, doesn't at the minute, but we'll make it look good in a second, that's what's going to stop someone scrolling. If they've got an image that looks like them, they've got a sort of funky headline that draws them in and it's all branded up to your colors, it's going to look pretty cool. So we'll do that in a second. So your subheading, if you drag over everything, you can just drag them over together rather than doing it on every single thing. Like I said, you can have 10 slides. So you've got your headline. This is going to be your next page. All you do up here is duplicate page, and it'll just duplicate those down. So we'll do a few of those for now. So 5 easy fat loss tips. So what I would probably do is go to my second page and almost give it a like second front cover, because what Instagram does with carousel slides as well, which is why I love to use them, when you scroll through Instagram, if you see my slide number 1 and you don't interact with it and you just swipe past it, I won't be offended, but it does happen. What Instagram does as a massive favor to you, or to you, the person who's posted the carousel slide, later on that day, it will show you slide 2. So my audience, even the people that slide past number 1, they'll see the second one further on, like about an hour or 2 later maybe. If they don't interact with that one, it shows you the third one. If you don't interact with that one, then game over. But what you want to make sure is that's your headline. Almost repeat it on the next one, or again, do something that's going to capture their attention. So I would maybe just put fat loss isn't easy. Line that up, put my text to left, put my text to left on that one. Fat loss isn't easy, but these 5 tips, or whatever, however many I said, these 5 tips sure will help. Something like that, I don't know. So fat loss isn't easy, but these 5 tips sure will help. So anyone that's whizzed past this one, but they happen to see my second slide, will know that I'm going to be giving 5 tips if they carry on scrolling now. Sorry, swiping along now. So fat loss isn't easy, but here, these 5 tips will sure will help. Then tip 1, whatever you're going to do tip 1 is. What you can do also is make it a bit more in your face. You can even, in the elements, you can search like a number 1, for example. So you can drag any of these over, just click them and they appear. Put it to your brand colors. So you could do tip 1, for example, however you want it to appear. Obviously you can drag that down and then you would put the tip underneath. If it's something, I don't know, let's say hydration, sleep, that's what people tend to put out. So you could even, again, in the elements, you can use sort of funky images, etc. Or in the photos, again, there's going to be photos that relate to sleep in there. So you could use something like that. Obviously you can resize, drag everything around to make it fit. And then you could also put that position to the back, and I'll put that as now as your background. Obviously text, etc. would have to sort of fit in around it. But that's just another thing you could do. You can also line up these sort of things to the text itself. So if you don't want it sort of overlapping, you can have it next to it, for example. But again, everything on there is literally drag, drop, resize. You can change the color of every single bit of text, whatever you use. Most of the elements you can change colors, not all of them. There's a few that don't allow you to change colors. Again, you've got all them in there. You've got a massive database of all different colors in here as well. So your brand colors, if you've got a designed logo, for example, ask them what the hex code is, and you can actually put it to your exact color, not just sort of guessing, thinking, oh, it's a little bit red, we use red. You can use the exact colors. So what you do is go through, create all these, and then what you do afterwards is have a call to action page. So let's put a cartoon of me. So my call to action that I tend to put, I'll show you separately in a second. I'll do a good old fashioned, here's one I created earlier. I would ask them a question. So let's, because we're talking about fat loss, what other tips do you want to know? You can't type properly. Again, I'll put that to left. I'll drop that spacing down. And I'll probably make it smaller. Oops, sorry, not that way. Probably do something like that, and I would underline it. So again, elements, everything's in elements you'd ever flipping need. So underline, it's all these bits and pieces. Change the color so you can actually see it. And then what I do on mine, again, I will show you, is put my name. Company name again. Step that to the left. I'd normally space that out and make it look a bit nicer. I've got my signature as well on other ones. So obviously you always want a call to action, because what you want is to grab their attention, talk them through all these bits and pieces, have a overview, so summarize on sort of like the second to last page, and then bullet point or whatever you want to do, everything that you've like gone over. So you could do a bit of a recap or an overview page, whatever you want to call it. This is what's going to get you saves. Obviously, the nice graphics, etc., might get you likes. The content will get comments, because people will ask about it, especially if you're asking a question to do so, making it more interactive. So you're going to get likes from the images, comments from whatever you're putting in there. Saves is also massive importance for boosting your engagement on Instagram. So give them an overview, give them a reason to hit save. Lists, how-to posts, like I said, the recaps, stuff like that at the end, or a bit of a guide is what's going to get them save. Even if they don't go and look at it later, so many people go, oh, I'll save that. might just get in there saved and they never flip and look at it again. But yes, we do want them to take action, but for you, it's perfect. That's what you want to do. The call to action can be like, what do others know? Let me know below. So you could add to that. Just copy that. These 3 dots. That goes to duplicate. So what you can add to this also is let me know below. Comments, whatever you want to put. You can put that under as well, probably make that a bit bigger. But you've asked them a question, you've told them where to go, because if you don't tell them, they won't flip and do it. So let me know in the comments, drop me a message, check out the website, hit the link for the free PDF, whatever. If you don't tell them where to go, they're not going to do it. They're just going to scroll through and go, oh, this is really nice. And then at the end, oh, like you've built them up, you need to tell them what to do next. So make sure you add that at the end. Like I said, this is going to get saves. All this is useful, actionable tips, giving value, basically. It's called the AIDA format. So it's basically attention, interest, details, action. So over those posts, your first one is your attention. Let's click down here. If you click this little button, grid view, you can see an overview of everything. So if you think of AIDA, again, attention, interest, details, action, that's going to grab their attention, and potentially this one as well. And it might also pique their interest. Then the details are whatever you're talking about, like your tips. So detail, 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 massive detail there. And then the action is what you want to do next. So you need to take action. That is a basic sort of marketing formula for email sequences, sales funnels, carousel slides. Even if you're just doing a singular post, if this is your one and only image, that's the attention. The interest underneath could be, do you want to grab da, 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 da? That's the interest. The detail, again, in your copy underneath a post, you're bullet pointing what they need to do or how they need to do it, and then the action at the end. If you think like where Matt's gone through his own story, which obviously he's told you guys to do, it's the same sort of thing. If you look at that post and break it down, I'm pretty sure you could see the attention is, I know not in these words obviously, but like, hi guys, I've got something to get off my chest, or you know, I've been bottling this up for the last few years. That's the attention, because people are thinking, oh my god, what's he on about? Then the interest is the next bit, like, you know, I've been sort of living this double life and I've not been happy and I've done this, that, the other. That's the interest that's going to make them go on. The details are, again, it's not in bullet point form, but the details are like those bullet points of this happened, this happened, this happened, like telling that story. The action at the end, depending on how you've told yours, could be, I'd love it if you shared with me your story, or, you know, what's the next step you want to do? Like they've bought into you, they've brought into your personality, your backstory. What do you want them to do next? So again, the AIDA format, if you know it or not, you've probably been using it in some way without knowing about it. So going back to this, once you've got your slides put out in whatever format you're happy with, you need to jazz it up a little bit. So I'm going to do Blue Peter. Here's one I prepared earlier. So this one is going out on Friday. So today's, Jesus Christ, what day is it? So today's Wednesday. This one's like scheduled already to go out on Friday. So what I've done here, I've now added my name and my company name, my app handle and my website. Got this little 2-finger swipe telling them that they need to swipe along. I've put my brand colors on there, which is red, black, white generally. What I've also done is add text over the text. So there's the actual text. Then I've duplicated that text. And then in text effects up here, you can have hollow, you can have a shadow, you can have a lift, which sort of lifts it off the page slightly, splice, echo, glitch to make it a bit like sci-fi, neon, which you can sort of adjust everything on there. But again, mine was hollow and it was nice and thin just to give that a bit of an outline. What I've also done is put this image, because I'm talking about tools, so it's just something that links to the word tools, nothing to do with fitness or hashtags. So I've just put that over this bit of text, but behind this bit of text, which now makes it look quite cool that it's sort of in the A. Put that red bar there as well, which you see in a second. So going back to something I said right at the beginning with the 1080 by 1080, when you are on an Instagram feed, so I'm just going to drag this, as you see as I'm holding the button down, it's got the height and the width. So if I go to that edge, drag that corner to that edge, a perfect square, because we know that the width is 1080, the perfect square is 1080 by 1080. If I drag that into the middle, that square is what you see on a home feed of Instagram. So if I jump to mine, so as you can see, all these posts are square. As you go into them, the square's disappeared, so now it's bigger. So this is the 1350 height. So again, on the feed, it's square. As you go into it, the top and the bottom has now appeared. What you want to make the carousel slides do is sort of seamlessly scroll from one to the other to make them look nice, flow to them and stuff like that. Whichever ones you click on, generally, like he's there, as you scroll, his cape's still there. You can put images. I've got all my details around the edge. And this one, bad example. Trying to find one for recap. There you go, that's a bit of a recap there. And there's a bullet point recap there. Phone mock-ups, you can put everything. Tell you guys to do a flipping recap and I can't even find one of my own bloody posts. See, that's a bit of a recap. But anything like this, where was it? Anything with a list, that's generally what gets saved. I'm going to stop looking now because otherwise I'll shoot myself in the foot and can't find one. But as you can see, they are square images. When you're on a home feed and you're scrolling, see, look, that image is not square. That's a big image. So if that was a square image, it would be like there. So you'd have someone else's half a square image up here. You might have the beginning of the next caption underneath, like that one, for example. Because that's a square image, it only takes up that much of the screen. That one takes up my whole screen. So when, especially when you're on a phone, it's difficult on the like MacBook, but when you're on a phone, you want to be the main picture that people are seeing when they're scrolling. So that's why I always say about the 1350 height, because that gives you this space to add your logo. Because if it was all in this square, if it was all in there, and then if I got rid of that square, I've just dropped transparency down, which is this button here, look. If it's all in there, it's all going to look a bit crowded, like that text, etc. would have to come down to fit my name in here. The swipe would have to be over a little bit. The finger would have to be across there. So it gets quite cluttered. Whereas when you sort of, if I go back, but when you drop the transparency down here, that's when you can see if you fit it into that square nicely that will appear on Instagram. So again, you just go into elements, square, make a square, put it right in the middle of the page, drop the transparency right down, and then that is giving you an overview of what you're going to be seeing on that home grid on Instagram. So like I said, once you've got your basics there, you can go back, play with the text, add images. If you're anything like me, you'll change image and headline a few times over. But the things that will always sort of stay is your name, your Instagram name, a little arrow or whatever you want them to do to swipe next. And then as you go through, so this is talking about free hashtag tools. although they're not as great reach-wise as they once were, hashtags can still be a great tool for helping you grow. So here are 3 sites to find your perfect set. And then I've given a few bits. There's that post that I've done that's scheduled for today, actually, is the image that I've used on there. I've just done a screen grab and dragged it into this. What you can do again on elements is there's things called frames. So this, where it's got that cloud picture in the background, you can drag any image from your own images or your photos here into that, and it'll have it as the background. So now you've got a laptop with that on it. So that's how I've done this. I've put the frame in, done a screenshot, dragged it in. There's so many cool things like that that you can do on here. Allhashtags.com, ingrammer.com, etc., etc. So again, this is what's going to give me a save, is try to use a mix of keywords relevant to your audience, what it is you do, terms that they may search for. I haven't spelled search right. Struggles they have, items and topics in your post. So for example, your hashtags should be like personal trainer London, female fat loss, how to lose weight, fat loss tips, because that's what your audience are probably going to be searching for, and they're going to link to your post. What I also do on some of my posts is this little bit down here. So it says, don't forget to save this post and drop me a follow if you're not already. And then again, using the elements, I've just searched for save or Instagram save, whatever, and follow. And again, you can change them color-wise if you want. And then my call to action is, how is your hashtag reach? Sometimes I put let me know below, drop me a comment, depending on what I'm talking about. There's my signature that I've just uploaded. I literally done that on my iPhone, drew it on my iPhone with my finger, sent it to my MacBook, and then took the background away. Obviously my name, company name, picture of my ugly mug, just in case they forget who I am, and change that up relevant to whatever the post is. So for example, because I'm talking about looking for hashtags, I'm on my phone. If it's like, drop me one thing below, I've got a picture of me like with finger up in the air, etc., etc. So this is like basic sort of how I would carry out a carousel. As you notice, there's not that much on each one because you want them to keep scrolling. If that had a shed load of text on, they'd be bored. You want them to sort of swipe through in a couple of minutes, not spend 2 or 3 minutes on each slide. If you go again down here to the grid view, you've got a bit of an overview of how it's going to flow. What you can also do, if you've got anything like that, where I've got this line, you can hold that down and put it next to it. So if you're unsure that it's going to match up and be in line with each other, you can do that. Again, this one, oops, let's do that way instead then. You can see that's going to line up nicely. And all they are is a square. So I've just gone into elements, grabbed a square, and then resized it. Once you've got that, you can just copy and paste it straight onto the next slide if you want to carry something over like that, and it will just appear in exactly the same place. Then all I've done is shorten that one and put a triangle, match the colors up at the top, and then put them behind that. So again, anything you highlight, you go position. I could send that to the back, and there you can see where the gap is. But obviously I'd want that at the front. And again, anything like this, if you want to make sure that this one and this one are in the same place, you can just copy that, get it from the images, obviously, hit paste, and then again, you can line them up just so every slide's sort of got a nice layout to it. Other cool things that you can do, let's do it on a different one. Just close that. So him, let's go back to this guy. So again, I would sort of play around with this and make it a lot more interesting. I'm just cutting him down because he had that background before. So I'm going to make him bigger. I'm going to put him there maybe. Oops. I'm just going to crop him from the bottom. And I'm going to put him over that way a tiny little bit. So obviously he's looking up at something. So you could put him like right down there if you want, it's up to you. But again, like I said, you'll sort of play around until you're happy with where you want him. Could even call it 5. Easy fat loss tips. You need to know, or something like that. I don't know, something that's just sort of going to capture their attention more. Like I said, I'd sort of chop around and play with it quite a bit until I was sort of happy. But you could add a bit of different text. So easy fat loss tips. You need, in capitals, to know. I know, something like that. So yeah, keep playing around with him until you're flipping happy. And again, faff around with a headline and stuff like that. Again, you can have a text effects. I personally lift stuff if it's on a flat background, just makes it look a bit more 3D, not that extreme. So I'd probably have it like about 50%, just lifts it off the page slightly. Probably wouldn't do it too much with small text because it can make it a bit fuzzy. But for the big, fat, bold, definitely. So what you can do to make him look a little bit more standout-ish is you can give him a bit of a shadow. So we've got him there. So duplicate him, and it will just drop him pretty much in the right place that you want to make a shadow behind him. Then what you do is effect. So the second one of him is highlighted. Effect. Sorry, filter even. Go to street. Put that all the way to the top to 100. Then go adjust. The brightness all the way down and the contrast all the way up. So now he's completely blacked out. Then give him a bit of a blur, probably about sort of 20-ish. And then the transparency, drop that down to like 30 odd. And what you're going to do now is put that backwards. So if I get all of this right and out of the way, just so you can focus on that. If I highlight both of them, it's going to make them both the same size. But if you notice now, he's got a bit of a shadow behind him, so he doesn't look as flat on a white background. What you can do is highlight both and then group them, and then that'll make it one image. When you're doing a carousel slide, what always sort of amazes people, as it were, oops, so I'm going to ungroup that quickly, because that shadow is just underneath. If you crop it up so it's flat, and then group that again. So put that to the bottom. As you hit any of the lines, you see they go pink. So he's touching the bottom and the side at the moment. But what I want to show you is if we drag him over, because I said that what makes people impressed with carousel slides is that that image flows nicely from one slide to another. So let's put him right over there for a minute. And then if we duplicate that page, he's going to drop down here. And then what we want to do is ungroup him. Select one of the images, drag this little white line all the way over until it goes pink, like so. And then you're going to drag that over to this side. Line them up at the bottom, so it's gone pink. Line them up on the left, it's gone pink. And do the same with shadow. Drag that over until it goes pink. Drag that over. Line it up on the side and the bottom, both gone pink. And now that's behind him. So if we go to our grid view, you'll see that he's there and finishes there. So if we just, again, hold that down, just to be on the safe side, you can scroll that over, sorry, drag that over even, line him up, and you'll see that he's over 2 pages. You can do that with arrows, boxes, anything on the elements. I know you can have half a picture in one, half a picture in the other, doesn't matter. But it just looks so good when you're scrolling through that you can see like where one image starts and it finishes on the next page, and it looks a little bit more eye-catching. Gives you sort of plenty of space still for your headline. Obviously, where he's looking now is like right up here, so you probably wouldn't have the headline up there. But yeah, you've got all this space to play with. And like I said, that scroll now looks like, oh my God, how the hell did they do that? And you get a lot of comments. You'll get a lot of people saying, oh, that they love your content purely because of that. But like I said, if you look at my Instagram feed, it's just at the PT Mentor UK. You can see that I do this quite a lot. So she starts there, she finishes there. Obviously on a phone, when you're scrolling, you can slow it down and you'll see the transition. It's a bit too quick on desktop, obviously, but you get the gist. Other ones, this one. So her headdress is there, finishes there. There's another guy coming up, as you can see his headdress there. He's there, he finishes actually on this page, he's over 3 because his fingers are there, and so on. You can do it with images in the background. You can do it with an image that you put on there. Again, he finishes that side. Where else? Oh, I've done it. Again, she finishes on the next one. I'm trying to think where I've got one where I've got something that's not an image that goes from one to the other. No, I'm sure you get that idea. Talking about clickbait and sort of capturing attention, you want to put something a bit tongue-in-cheek, a bit like, oh my God, what the hell is he on about? But this one was actually nothing to do with what people might think. It's actually talking about running your own business and like pulling your hair out and stuff like that. But again, use of images, as you can see, like the sort of the bold with the small text. If I add any more, it would be a bit too much, but mixture of images, no images. Again, he appears there. You can do graphics. All this again was created in Canva. So call to action at the end. It changes every now and then when so that one says, let me know below. That one says, don't forget to save it. But all the images on Canva are amazing. Anything that you haven't got, you can go and grab elsewhere. You can upload fonts into it. Like I've got that Back to the Future style font from dafont.com, dafont.com, all one word. So I just grabbed that from there. I grabbed Doc Brown even from, where did I get him? Just Google search, PNG file, and then you can just remove the background in Canva. But yeah, this, like I said, it's just literally what you can do with Canva is amazing, and you haven't got to be like Photoshop trained or anything like that. But there's loads on there that you can probably like go onto my feed and learn a bit about how to create clickbait images, how to do things in Canva, but even just to sort of steal some ideas. Like I said, there's even that one where I tell people to bloody steal stuff. So, like I said, first off, you want to put like your name there. Then you want one of those, again, just creating Canva. Again, you want like your page number maybe. Add some images and a background. Don't forget your swipes, arrows, highlight stuff, and so on. Have a recap. There's definitely one there. Look. But yeah, like I said, have a little flick through, have a little bit of a play with Canva. Hopefully that's enough of an insight to sort of let you understand, excuse me, some cool things you can do. But there's so many good things on there. The post that's going out today, or it would already be out there, you're viewing this in the future, tells you how to create a super post. So what I mean by super post is, obviously a super post can make people like, comment, share, save, etc. And how do you create one? Obviously your name has got to be, if your company name is at joeblogs_99, whatever. Not really that memorable. Try and make it as simple as you can. Make it your company name. Your name in your bio should have your name in it. So if it's, again, speaking of Matt, for example, if he just had Fit Story, then people wouldn't know who he is. So I get so many DMs from people. First thing I do is look at their profile, because I want to go, oh, hi, Carl, or hi, Matt, or hi, Joe Blogs. But when it's just like such and such personal training, it's like, I can't go back and give that personal touch. So make sure your name's there, and it's searchable as well. Like anything, like my name's Carl Muir, PT course provider, that is actually searchable. So if I were to search in Instagram course provider, I would come up. But if it was just like personal trainer, or you didn't have your location or whatever, then you're not going to come up. Tag in if you want to sort of target your target area, or your local area. Eye-catching image, obviously. Your content's got to give that value. Caption at the top of your content, your call to action, your hashtags, and again, share it. Ask questions before. Try and get engaging on social media before you're going to post anything out. If you say, who wants 5 tips for fat loss, and ask a bit of a yes/no poll a few hours before to build up some engagement, get people looking at your profile, Instagram will see that engagement and help boost it slightly. And then when your time comes along that you've posted it, as soon as you post it, share that to your stories as well. Because as people are flicking through your stories, it will say, who wants this, yes or no? Oh, yes, I do. Very next one is like, here it is, head to my bio, here's the post. So like I said, you can see sort of various different posts I do. Some have got images, some have got more text. Like again, there's the woman that's going to appear on half and half. She's got a little shadow behind her. It's white with a big black and red bold text font, so people will see it. That's my bold font that I use, and then you can see throughout it's a mixture of the other bold font I use and the sort of generic type font. Checklist at the end, my little save, that one says follow, that one says save. But yeah, hopefully that's given a bit of an insight into how to create carousel posts. When you have got to this stage, all you do is download it. And then what I use, I schedule all my content in Creator Studio, which is a Facebook app. So I would then download it and upload it into here. So you just link your Facebook and your Instagram account. Mine goes from Instagram over into Facebook. So I never touch the Facebook side, I just go by the Instagram. And how you do that is create post. So there you can see that today's one's scheduled for 3 p.m. So if I go create post, Instagram feed. So again, this is Creator Studio, to search on Google. Then I want to add some content. And then that should be, no, that's that one. Oh, would help if you, there's a picture of Matt. Hi, Matt. Would help if I downloaded it, wouldn't it? I thought I already had. So let's go and show the process. Sure, we can figure out how to download something in Canva, but so I'm going to go back into this one. So again, just because my OCD, even though I've checked it God knows how many times, scroll through and check again and make sure I did change that search word. So what I do now is download. So I'll tell you here, just leave all that as it is. You can have it as a transparent background. So if I want to just download an image of myself and create a logo, for example, or use this image and then save it again, so I don't have to keep removing the background all the time, you can do things like that. All 9 pages, yes. If you make a spelling mistake, as you've just seen, like I did, you could just select the one page that you've changed, but I want all 9, obviously. So I want to download that. And then when that has downloaded, there or thereabouts. Let's jump up, go over here. So add content from file. Let's refresh that. So I'm aware that this is like the worst training ever. I've just been waffling and faffing around. But do feel free to shout if you want me to cover anything again. It's still uploading or downloading. Anyway, right, ignore that for now. So in your post, this is where you put your caption. So you can put all your caption in here. You can put all your hashtags. Comes up with like sort of recommended one as well. So did you want hashtags, strategy, hashtags Brazil, whatever? So I want hashtags. You can use 30 hashtags, use a mixture of small, as in very local, like Carl Muir personal trainer, for example, all the way up to like big ones of hashtag fitness. The bigger hashtags, you're going to get lost. There's so many. If you just used all like fitness, fat loss, gym motivation, all that sort of stuff, your post would be gone off the home screen quicker than it arrived. So you should use a mixture of the small ones, because your post could do very, very well in, let's say, for example, hashtag personal trainer Hertfordshire, which is where I live. You could do very well in that hashtag. So your post can be ranking. And what I mean by ranking is how far it is up on the home screen. So going off on a tangent, if I go to the Discover page, so these are doing well because people have either interacted with them or hashtags have got them onto that screen. But like I said, if they had all massive hashtags, you'll be on that screen and off it before you even know about it. And all these ones will just replace you like very, very quickly. So it's like the explore page and stuff like that. You want to sort of try, that's the aim, to be on one of those first sort of 9, 10 pages as people scroll down. If you're on there, you're going to get more likes, more views, more follows, potentially more business. So that's like the aim. So let's go back and see if it's uploaded yet. Just want to quickly show how to schedule it. So I'm going to select all of them, choose for upload. I'll stick them in there. Again, if you want to be OCD like me, you can flick through again and check that it's all there. So my Facebook page is linked here. So I want to click that. I don't want to publish it, because if I hit publish, it will go right this second. What I want to do is schedule it for Friday, 3 p.m, because that's when I post my content, 3 p.m, 3 times a week. I know that from my insights. Again, look at your Instagram insights. You can do it in Creator Studio. If you look on the left-hand side, insights is here, gives you all the same stats that's on Instagram, like your demographic, your age, gender, where people are located, the times that they're on Instagram, etc., etc. So my busiest time for my followers is from sort of 3, 4 o'clock onwards. So if I post at 3 o'clock, like I said earlier, if they miss that first one, they're going to get the second one. Miss the second one, they'll get the third one. And then they've got all evening to sort of come back and interact with it, save it, whatever. So I post at 3 o'clock. So that is now scheduled on Facebook. Over here, again, if I hit publish, what it's going to do is publish to Instagram now, but it will schedule to Facebook on Friday at 3 p.m. So you can, if you want to post 2 different places, 2 different times, you can do that as well. But obviously, I want my audience to be seeing things at the same time. So again, go to Friday, time, 3 p.m, click. So now, as you notice, that's changed from publish to schedule. As I hit that, which I'm not going to do obviously because I need to put my actual copy in there. If I hit schedule, that's going to schedule both this one, because we're in the Instagram feed, as you can see here, and it's going to go to my Facebook page, as you can see here. Schedule, hit the blue one, done. So I'm going to come out of that. And then what it will do, if you go on here, you can drop down box to all your scheduled posts, and that will tell you that you've scheduled it for today, Friday, Monday, etc. What I tend to do is try and get ahead of myself sometimes and do like 2 or 3 weeks at a time, like especially the rest of May. I've got quite a few things going on, got to go away for work a few times here and there to see students. So I'm going to probably spend next Monday scheduling a ton of posts. So I'm going to map them all out, stick them all on there, make them all look good, schedule them all, and then that's it. You haven't got to worry. The only thing is that sharing stuff to your stories while you're on the go is pretty simple. And then when people do post, when you do post and people do comment, make sure you're interacting. I always try and interact about half an hour before with loads of random people appear on my feed, just dropping them a comment, a few likes here and there, answering any messages. Because again, Instagram will see you're active. So when your post goes live and people comment on it, you're sort of already there and you've been seen for the sort of hour or two before, whatever you can do. And then try and reply to all your comments as well, because again, that will boost your engagement. Because if you get 10 comments and you reply to all of them, straight away you've got 20 comments. So again, Instagram will think, that post's doing quite well. It's only been around for 20 minutes and it's already got 20, 30, 40 comments. So make sure you're always replying to comments, which will help, again, boost your engagement. I know I've gone on a massive tangent talking about Instagram and how that works more than the flipping carousel side of things. But like I said, there's such a good tool. You can make them look as funky or as basic as you want. You can do banners for Instagram, sorry, not Instagram, for Facebook, for talks, for YouTube videos. You can do little square posts, anything such as, I don't know, let's just take, where's that square one gone? Anything that you put as a square post, carousel slide, whatever, if you want to share it to your story, all you do is go up to resize. So this is the other way around. Obviously, it's already a story. So I can resize that to a Instagram post, for example. So it's 1080 by 1080. So if I copy and resize, if I resize, it's going to lose that one. So you want to do copy and resize. It doesn't fit. You have to like jiggle around with it all. But there you go. So rather than having to do it all again, and then all you do is just put your left mouse button down, highlight everything. So you can just drag it all in one big square. Again, rather than having to do it on different platforms. Whatever, I'll stick it there for now. But yeah, so you can resize things as well. But like I said, there's so many good things on Canva that you can do. There's so many like funky things, like this one I really like, that I used the other day. So it's some great templates. And it sort of, again, comes up with a bit of suggestions, like that's the actual text from the image before. You can do a fake, well, not fake, but you can do a review. Yeah, whatever. There's so much good stuff in there. Have a little bit of a play. If you get stuck, I'm in the group. So if Matt tags me into the video, happy to answer any questions. If anyone wants to like jump on a Zoom or whatever, I'm happy to show bits and pieces here and there. But I will leave it there. Hopefully that's been of use. But like I said, any questions, give me a shout.